Not a case where Hannah Gutierrez made one mistake and that one mistake was accidental, putting a live round into that gun. This case is about constant, never-ending safety failures that resulted in the death of a human being and nearly killed another. Former Home Alone actor Devin Rattray pleaded guilty to 2 domestic violence charges last week, reaching a deal that will keep him out of prison. The plea deal brings an end to Rattray's domestic violence case 3 years after he was arrested following an altercation with a woman in December 2021. The 47-year-old pleaded guilty to 1 count of domestic assault and battery by strangulation and another count of domestic assault and battery, according to People. The actor was ordered to take behavior intervention classes, as well as being ordered to undergo drug and alcohol assessment. He was also ordered to have no contact with the woman he pleaded guilty to assaulting. He first rose to prominence in the early 90s when he played Buzz McAllister, the older brother to Macaulay Culkin's character in the first 2 Home Alone movies. His 2021 arrest came after his girlfriend alleged that he had punched her in the face, covered her mouth with his hand, and then tried to strangle her. The woman has previously been identified as Rattray's girlfriend at the time of his arrest, according to a report by KFOR. The woman told police at the time that the pair got into an argument at a bar. His girlfriend then told police that she had left him and returned to her hotel room and that he followed her back to the hotel, where the woman said he pinned her on the bed and began choking her. Oklahoma City Police Detective Joseph Burnett wrote in his report about the altercation that he allegedly threatened the woman, quote, "This is how you die." He allegedly said as he strangled her. Rattray then stopped strangling her and punched the woman in the face before she ran out of the hotel room. Reportedly hospitalized in critical condition, according to TMZ. It remains unclear what Rattray was hospitalized for at the time. The outlet reported that Rattray has since been released and returned home. The domestic violence charges against Rattray also revived a 2017 rape allegation against the actor. Lisa Smith, the woman who said Rattray allegedly raped her, had first filed a police report against him in 2017, and after hearing about Rattray's domestic violence charge in 2021, Smith told CNN she reached back out to police to find out why her report was never investigated. Rattray has not been charged in connection to Smith's allegations, and he denied the accusation in a phone call with CNN at the time. And now on to our next topic. The parents of Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie have reluctantly reached a settlement in their emotional distress lawsuit. The parents of murdered 22-year-old Gabby Petito has reached a settlement in a civil lawsuit accusing her confessed killer's parents of emotional distress. The resolution marks an end to the year-long civil case filed in March 2022, in which Petito's parents and step-parents accused Christopher and Roberta Laundrie of intentionally infliction of emotional distress. Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt, along with the respective spouses Tara Petito and James Schmidt, released a joint statement on Wednesday, February 22, 2024, through their attorney Patrick Riley, saying, quote, "After a long day of meditation, a confidential resolution has been reached between the parents of Gabby Petito, the parents of Brian Laundrie, and attorney Stephen Bertolino, to which all parties reluctantly agreed in order to avoid further legal expenses and prolonged personal conflict." Continued saying, quote, "Our hope is to close this chapter of our lives to allow us to move on and continue to honor the legacy of our beautiful daughter, Gabby." Petito's August 2021 disappearance gained widespread. Brian Laundrie returned to his parents' works after weeks of traveling cross-country in a van. Her body was eventually found on September 19, 2021, at Wyoming's Grand Teton National Park. Experts ruled her death as a homicide, stating Petito died by strangulation weeks earlier. Laundrie vanished soon after returning to Florida in early September, and his body was later discovered at the T. Mabry Carlton Jr. Memorial Reserve near his parents' Sarasota County home. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head, but not before claiming responsibility for Petito's death in a notebook found near his body. Petito's parents, according to the 2022 filing, accused Laundrie's parents of knowing for weeks that Laundrie had murdered Petito on August 27, 2021. The last day, Mrs. Schmidt spoke with her daughter and kept the information to themselves, per the lawsuit. Quote, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie exhibited extreme and outrageous conduct which constitutes behavior under the circumstances, which goes beyond all possible atrocious and utterly intolerable in a civilized community, states the lawsuit. At the time of the initial filing, the Petitos sought $30,000 in damages. The Petito's parents alleged that Laundries went on vacation in the first week of September 2021, suggesting they displayed callous indifference of their suffering. They added that the Laundries reportedly refused to respond to their grief-stricken pleas. The Laundries, for their part, denied withholding information about Petito's disappearance. The attorney representing the Laundries, and also named in the lawsuit, previously called the motion baseless and frivolous, urging a Florida judge to drop the case. While families on both sides acknowledge reaching the settlement, official documents have yet to be filed with the courts, and had they not agreed to the terms, the parties would have headed to trial on May 13th, 2024. And now on to our next topic. Scott Peterson's conviction faces a shocking surprise challenge 20 years later. 20 years after his conviction, Scott Peterson has been given a small hope regarding his possible innocence in the murder of his wife, Lacey Peterson, and his unborn son, Connor. It was an investigation and court case that's been covered in great deal by multiple outlets with strong feelings from the public about the outcome. It's hard to imagine there's a silver lining for him as he continues his life sentence without parole. However, the announcement of the Los Angeles Innocence Project at the beginning of this year has reactivated the case. Their stance is that Peterson's state and federal constitutional rights were violated during the initial trial. The Innocence Project is dedicated to helping seek proof of the wrongful convictions and performing legal work pro bono. Though a national organization, the LA division is independently operated and is the group that issued the court filing on January 18, 2024. Lawyers for the LA Innocence Project expanded on previous arguments during the time of the trial that Lacey was still alive when her husband left the morning of December 24th and present the possibility of other suspects in a robbery taking place nearby. Defense lawyers for the case pointed out other robbers might have been involved in the crime. In 2022, two witnesses came forward to report a man who had previously been referred to in court filings as DM. They said DM also robbed the house and took part in Lacey's abduction after she caught them mid-crime. The LA Innocence Project is requesting DNA testing of the hammer the robbers are believed to have left at the scene, which may lead to evidence of other potential accomplices. There's also been demands for DNA testing on cloth from a bloodstained mattress found on December 25th, 2002 in a burned-out van parked in the nearby area. Although this blood was previously tested for DNA in 2019, lawyers from the Los Angeles Innocence Project say now tests would be more discriminating and could contradict prior test results. Additionally, DNA testing of tarp and plastic bag debris found on the shore near Lacey and Connor's bodies has also been called for. It seems like a potentially long stretch that any new evidence will be uncovered that will exonerate Peterson, though the results of the testing remain to be seen. Numerous TV shows, news programs, and podcasts have weighed in on the innocence of Peterson over the years. Advocate and podcaster Ramya Chaudhry covered the case in her podcast in a 2022 episode, in which she points out similar details to the LA Innocence Project regarding possible other suspects. Chaudhry is famously linked to another overturned conviction case stemming from the 1999 murder of Hae Min Lee. She holds the belief that her family friend Adnan Saeed was wrongfully convicted and has tirelessly advocated for his freedom for years. The case became part of everyday conversation in 2014 thanks to the in-depth reporting and coverage from the popular podcast Serial. 8 years after the podcast season debuted, Saeed's conviction was vacated and he was freed after spending more than 20 years in prison. However, the case quickly took another turn in 2023 when a Maryland appeals court reinstated the conviction and sentencing and ordered a new hearing based on the failure to give Lee's family sufficient notice of the hearings in which Saeed's murder conviction was vacated. Will a high level of advocacy and publicity give Peterson a similar outcome? And what's needed to overturn a conviction? In 2020, the California Supreme Court overturned a death sentence for Peterson, but upheld the conviction. Then, at the end of 2022, Peterson was denied a new trial based on a juror failing to disclose involvement in other proceedings and improper screening for bias against the death penalty. To take on a case as infamous as Peterson's, lawyers from the LA Innocence Project must have a great deal of faith or knowledge they've yet to share regarding new evidence to be presented. Delivered the right verdict. Doubt in this case may not be enough to overturn a conviction. However, DNA evidence could be the catalyst which would absolve Peterson of his guilty conviction. Even then, the evidence alone only leads the way for the case to be reopened and potential of a new trial. With that being said, is it enough to ensure an impartial jury? And will the outcome set the tone for other high-profile cases to follow? It's interesting to consider how decades-old cases still present new developments today because of the evolution of DNA testing and other technology. Whatever happens, it'll be interesting to see how things play out. And now on to our next topic. The Rust armorer, Hannah Gutierrez, was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter in the death of Helena Hutchins. Gutierrez-Reed was charged with involuntary manslaughter after cinematographer Hutchins was killed by a prop gun held by Alec Baldwin on set. Hannah Gutierrez-Reed has been found guilty of involuntary manslaughter after less than 3 hours of deliberations. A jury at the 1st Judicial District Courthouse in Santa Fe, New Mexico, found that the 26-year-old was liable in part for the on-set fatal shooting of cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Gutierrez-Reed was acquitted of a separate charge of tampering with evidence. In her closing argument on Wednesday, prosecutor Carrie Morrissey said that, quote, the astonishing lack of diligence with regard to gun safety is without question a significant cause of the death of Helena Hutchins. It continued saying, this is not a case where Hannah Gutierrez made one mistake and that one mistake was accidental, putting a live round into that gun. This case is about constant, never-ending safety failures that resulted in the death of a human being and nearly killed another. Defense attorney Jason Bowles said during his closing argument that Gutierrez-Reed was a convenient fall person and that detectives did not conduct a thorough investigation of the October 2021 shooting. Bowles told People, following the verdict, that they will appeal. Judge Mary Marlowe Summer ordered that Gutierrez-Reed be remanded into custody to Santa Fe County Adult Detention Center following the guilty verdict. She faces up to 18 months in prison with the conviction. A sentencing date has not been set. Attorneys Gloria Allred and John Carpenter, who represent Hutchins' parents and sisters, issued the following statement after Wednesday's verdict, saying, quote, Helena's parents and her sister have always wanted everyone who was responsible for her death to be held accountable. Today was the first trial and conviction in the criminal justice process. We are satisfied that the jury, based on the evidence, found Hannah Gutierrez-Reed guilty beyond a reasonable doubt for her part in the taking of Helena's life. We look forward to the justice system continuing to make sure that everyone else who is responsible for Helena's death is required to face the legal consequences for their actions. Both Gutierrez-Reed and Rust star co-producer Alec Baldwin were charged with 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in January 2023 over the death of Hutchins from a prop gun that Baldwin was holding on the film's New Mexico set on October 21st, 2021. The actor has maintained that he did not pull the trigger. No charges will be filed related to the shooting of Rust director Joel Souza, who was injured in the incident which occurred during a rehearsal on the set at Bonanza Creek Ranch in Santa Fe. In response to the criminal charges of involuntary manslaughter and tampering with evidence filed against her, Gutierrez-Reed entered a written plea of not guilty on August 9th, 2023. In January 2023, Bowles and Todd Bouillon, attorneys for Gutierrez-Reed, said, quote, Hannah is and has always been very emotional and sad about this tragic accident, but she did not commit involuntary manslaughter. These charges are the result of a very flawed investigation and an inaccurate understanding of the full facts. We intend to bring the full truth to light and believe Hannah will be exonerated of wrongdoing by a jury. Baldwin was also charged with involuntary manslaughter in 2023 However, the charges were dropped 3 months later, delaying the criminal case. Following his second indictment this past January, the actor was released on his personal recognizance, according to court documents. A date of August 6 was set earlier this month for Baldwin's trial, per New Mexico court documents, and he has pled not guilty to the new charge. Let us know your thoughts on the topics we've covered in this episode in the comment section below. Of course, give us a thumbs up if you like our video, hit that subscribe button, the bell notification button to be notified of future videos, and of course, if you want to support the channel, go ahead and buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/TCNS. Your support helps the channel grow, even if that's just $1 a day, or $5 or $10, however much you want to give. Your support can really make this channel a little bit better. As always, thank you so much for watching and listening. We'll see